What is going on, family? We are back and we are part three of the Money Game series. It has been a journey and I've enjoyed it thus far. I like the fact that we have kind of spread this out a little bit because it gives me like fresh eyes and takes every time we jump into this whole money conversation. And I don't know why, but today felt like the good day to do it. So let's go ahead and just jump into part three because this one seems like it's a long video. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Oh my God! He's playing with my emotions already.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. 1 year old and his first words were mine, mine, gimme. 2 years old he was walking, 3 years old walking quickly. 4 years old he was running round the pavements of his city. 5 years old and his daddy told him, listen here son, you gotta learn to be a man. A man, he works for what he wants. 6 years old and he's reading, writing, top of the bunch. And when he's 7, his progression made him student number 1. 8 years old and he's praised for unusual grades. 9, his parents paid for private school to nurture the flame. 10, 11, 12, 13, he ascends and ascends. His daddy tells him, son, money is the means to all ends. 14, solving complex mathematical equations. At 15, IQ 150, still elevating. 16, he develops complex software code that detects weaknesses in cybersecurity protocols. 17, and he sells his vision, keeping the share. Not yet an adult, but he's practically a millionaire. 18, and his daddy tells him, now you're a man. This world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares, invest in product.
Oh my good God. Oh my good God, bro. Is this what we're doing here? Is this we're gonna just go through the life cycle of like what, is he just gonna like go through like the entire like idea of like every single year this is what he learned and what happened? Oh my good God, bro. It's exploded my brain already. I don't even know if that's like the factual thing of what's gonna happen here. But I love the idea of the concept, even if it's gonna stop at a certain point. Like the fact that he has done this is fire already. It's got me. He's already got me thinking about something that I was thinking about recently because somebody else had brought this up to me, where we we are again the differences in what how we as guys are raised and the pressures that they put on us versus what they put on our female companions. There's like two different stereotypes, societal pressures that get put on us. And Red is kind of really jumping into the bag of what the majority of us guys have been told most of our lives. Not everybody. Again, we're putting things into perspective here. Not everybody. There's always circumstances. But a lot of us, why does this message resonate with so many of us? Because we heard the same things. And I know women have heard the same things too. That it's not it's a guy thing, that the pressures to have success and to take care of yourself, earn money, you work hard, get good grades, all those things very much happen to women too. They do. And I'm not saying it doesn't. But what I feel like the way he's kind of driven the story out, we're talking about a guy here, like through the story, this he is, right? So this is very relatable, I think, to a lot of the guys in the room, where we are the ones who get put a lot of the pressure to become the breadwinners and to take care of people around us. That money and success is what brings you those things. It's what brings you a wife and what brings you kids and comfort in a home, and all those things is what you got to do, and you got to work hard on it. We are often very like discouraged growing up when we fail. When we fail, we didn't get it's okay that you tried. We got told you need to try harder because nobody's going to give a fuck that you came in second. Nobody cared how much you tried. All they're going to care about is whether you won or not. You see what I'm saying? That's the story that he's going through here. The difference of that mentality of we got beat the fuck up for not being successful. When we struck out in T-ball, our dads were disappointed in us. You know what I mean? Our moms said it was okay. Our dads told us to try harder. You know what I mean? And put fire in our souls and told us that we had to do all those things because we had to take care of ourselves one day. Because money was the only way that you were going to be able to do that. You see what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, those things don't fucking matter. They don't. But money is, I said it in a video before, money is not a necessity to life, but it is a necessity to life. If you don't have any, you really can't live. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird conundrum that we're in, that we're dependent on something that doesn't mean anything. Comfort. You know what I mean? All the things that we're always searching and striving for in life, we have to have something of value in order typically to achieve those things. But the things that really matter the most, like love, companionship, community, all of those things are free. But we are given all the pressure growing up to make sure that when we went to T-ball practice, that we built a community and a camaraderie with those people, that it was bigger than just the idea of us striking out, that it was a team sport, and that we were in this together, and that this was all something that we were all trying to get better at. You see what I'm saying? There's a different mentality of like what your coach could tell you one way or the other, but can still achieve the same goals. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's where we're trying, I think, a lot of people to change those stereotypes of those pressures, where it is important to teach our kids that it is important to take care of yourself. That you do, that nobody is going to give a fuck about you. Nobody is going to look out for you. You have to be able to do that on your own, because that's the reality of the world. But you can't be only focused on those things. You can't only like dive into all that stuff, because that's the stuff at the end. I'm sure I'm getting ahead of myself, that we're going to get to the end of the story, and it's going to be about how all that shit brought him no happiness. Everything that he ever thought he was going to get and work for, he was never going to get there. I could be completely wrong. This could be hashtag Johnny's wrong. Just press play, keep going. But this is what he does to me, man. And these money game things just get me talking.
All that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down deposits. 21, his income rockets. 22, he learns that truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you manipulate the data, then the lie will sell itself. 23, a life of luxury, crystal and cocaine. 24, he makes the Forbes list, they're applauding his name. 25, and his daddy tells him, listen here son, while you're sitting in that palace, that don't mean that you won. 26, a business shift, he switches business is to arms. He's 27, dealing nuclear and shells in Iran. 28 inside the Senate, money bought him a seat. He's 29, a role of counsel in the president's suite. Now he's 30, his daddy says you're losing the race. You're just a servant to the king, not even in second place. 31, a big money.
Oh my God. Again, I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but this is just making me think about how like how no matter how much success he's finding, it is never enough. Every step of the way, it was never enough. And that is kind of the problem that a lot of us fall into this trap where if I would just get that next promotion, if I could just get that job, or if I could just get that house, that car, that whatever, it would bring all that things that I need, that next thing. But then what happens? The next thing happens. You know what I mean? Like if every single thing that he has named through every single year of this person's life so far is something to be praised and recognized for. But again, for Dad, it was never enough. Just because you got that house, just because you're up in the mansion, doesn't mean that you're still not second place. You see what I'm saying? Like it's never enough, and it should be okay for us to celebrate the little things and for us to be able to, we need to always have goals in our lives to keep us moving forward, but it has to be healthy goals. And I feel like that's kind of what this song is kind of touching on in this at the same time, is like, because his dad fueled that fire in him, right? It never got put out. Because his entire life, it looked like he was trying to like basically work for his dad's and his father's approval or someone fictional person's approval. Again, that's kind of where we fall into place, right? Is like, who are we doing this all for? Who are we trying to impress? Who are you really trying to impress with? If I just got that car, all of a sudden everything would be cool and everything would be fine for me. You know what I'm saying? Who is that really going to impress? Is that really going to make you feel any better? No, it's not. I promise you. I got way too many friends. I got the cars of their dreams and they're still just as miserable. I've watched it happen for the last 15 years. People achieve that goal, they just want it so fucking bad. As soon as they got it, it made them more depressed. Make the Forbes list. You still ain't nothing, man. You made the Forbes list, didn't matter. You still number second. You ain't in the president's ear. You know what I'm saying? Like it's never enough. It's never enough, and you have to be okay with realizing what is okay of like for your own personal healthy goals and achieving those goals. And really recognizing what the things are, the goals around that you set for yourself need to be more oriented about the things that actually bring you joy in your life. You should have and think about goals more of like, how do I spend more time with this person that I love? How do I build a better relationship with this person that I love? You know what I mean? Those are better goals for you to fixate on than for you to focus so hard on just trying to get that next promotion. Or if I could just make it to so many dollars an hour. If I could just make X amount of $1,000 an hour a year. You know what I mean? Like that stuff is never going to bring you happiness. Promise you. I was that dude in the 20s, man, where if I could just do this, if I could just reach this, that was what it was going to be for me. You know what I mean? And I realized really quickly that no matter how much money I got, no matter how much stability I got, it brought no happiness to me. It only made me miserable. It only made me worse because it didn't really actually fix why I was trying to do that in the first place. Introspection. Look within. Look at what actually makes you happy in your life and chase those things.
For his daddy's approval, moving imports over borders from the exports out of Cuba. 32 moving grams, growing kilos to tons. He's 33, filling warehouses with powder and guns. 34, turf war with nobody to stop it. Blind eye from the po-po inside of his pocket. 35, he gets the call. I'm sorry, son, but it's your father. Had a heart attack, I'm sorry, he's gone. 36, getting pissed off, abusing his product. 37, eyes glazed, disposition demonic. 38, with a prostitute, a moment of passion. Heating up a silver spoon and then chasing the dragon. 39, getting reckless and hungry for power. Daddy's words are still driving him to kill and devour. Makes a move against the cartel, but the strategy's flawed. They retaliate and leave him in a hospital ward. A bullet buried in his vertebra and one in his leg. The doctor sighs and says, I don't think you'll be walking again. Fuck. Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. He was 40 and he cursed the words, mine, mine, gimme. 41 he wasn't walking, 42 not walking quickly, 43 never running round the pavements of his city, 44 inside a palace with a mountain of gold. But those riches turn to rubble when perspective evolves. Weighing heavy on his conscience is the value of gold. Lamborghini for a life, trading money for souls. Jimmy followed the code inside the land of the free. Put your hand inside the cookie jar, take more than you need. And his example is exaggerated versions of me. And it's a version of him, and it's a version of she, and it's a version of you. There's no escaping the blame. The way we live is parasitic. Fuck for money and fame. Cut the music. This isn't entertainment. This is real life. The way we live is lunacy. Community, it declines.
Oh boy. Okay, so now we're about to get into some spoken word real quick. So let me reset my brain here. Oh boy. Okay. Um, yeah, so he clarified that there was no particular individual that like this was inspired off of, right? Which is what I probably thought, right? This was going to be a little bit more of like the idea of a story again, an exaggeration of a story of me and a story of she. You know what I mean? Where it could be any one of us in the circumstances, because a lot of us grew up in similar, somewhat fashions, hearing similar, somewhat things, and we could have took some similar things, and you know what I'm saying? Like we can relate to this kind of story, right? Um, Obviously, not all of us are going to grow to be billionaires and tech, sell tech and war and blah 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 blah. It's an exaggerated story, but again, it's the story of the everyday person with a drive and the places and the things that you can reach and how much success you can reach, despite the fact that you probably really came from nothing. You know what I mean? There's stories that happen every single day about this kind of stuff, and I feel like that's what Ren is particularly is a great representation of. Is no matter how much, no matter if as soon as he hits 1 million subs, as no matter how much success he finds, his message doesn't stay the same. His message, I'm sorry, does say the same. That it is, he's the same person. He's still pushing the same narrative, and that's why I feel like people like him are important because he is like trying to being like the ultimate testament of that, like money won't change me. You know what I mean? Where like, yes, I can buy the nicer thing or the nicer sweater or but he doesn't indulge too much in it. You know what I mean? Like you want to enjoy some of the spoils of your hard work, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we don't see Ren flashing videos of him driving around in Lamborghinis and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? Like he probably could have been afforded a Lamborghini at one point in his life, especially when if he didn't have all these health problems that he has to take care of. But yeah, he's definitely found success, and he's probably been able to afford more things than he probably ever thought that he ever could. But we don't see him do that. We don't see him operate that way. If anything, I talked about the fact that he made a video of him making fun of people who kind of act like that way as soon as they find new money. You know what I mean? Like people with new money are the funniest people on the internet because all of a sudden they're acting like they had it the entire time. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden they're living a lifestyle. But again, that's why we're here supporting stuff like this because we don't buy into that shit. So let's keep it moving. Let's get into this spoken word part.
This isn't entertainment. This is real life. The way we live is lunacy. Community, it declines. Hyperpolarized, always fighting, then we divide. Truth is less important than the money that we designed. Money's an invention. Politics from our invention. They all come from people's ideas. Did I mention? Border's an invention. Law and order fuel the tension. It leads to people killing each other. My solution? Everything is subject to change. We could build utopias if individuals were taught to use their brains. But if we teach kids in schools to always be sheep and put themselves before the herd if there's more money for me, then there's no future I see where the humans survive with parasites inside a petri dish with cannibal minds. Mold will grow upon the surface then consume till it dies. And our fate could be the same without this story to the wise. "45. Jimmy comes home out of the rain, soaking wet upon a wheelchair, drinking again. He is everything he wants, he is fortune and fame. He's a fortunate fool with an unfortunate fate. With a 45 caliber aimed at his brain. 45 a fitting number cause his age is the same. Here's the words of his father, it's such a damn shame. Then he presses on the trigger of a money game.
Oh boy. I don't know, man. I don't think you guys can ever see the hair on the arms. I don't think that you can, but it's sticking up again. It's sticking up again. We've talked about this a few times on the channel about my history a little bit with suicide. Um, and as soon as like he made that comment where when he was about to go like load the gun, and he goes like I'll tell you what like my solution is, and then he or something like that, and then he stops and he just goes to start messing with the gun. I was like, man, motherfuckers have been killing me for years for saying that like the only option out of this world is to just take yourself out of it. You know what I mean? Because like it feels like the more that you know, the more that's the only option that you have. You know what I mean? Like nobody likes to know how hot dogs are made. You know what I mean? But yet we still eat them. Some of us. You know what I mean? When you see behind the curtain and you see how things really are, it's really hard to like forget that you know how things really are. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what Ren touches on a lot, especially in the series, is the fact that when you can see things, what seems to be so clearly, it seems like the only option is just like like you said, we're very parasitic as a society. We all, how many people will jump onto a comment and say that we're all sheep, but how much do we really do to go against that herd? You know what I mean? How much do we just fall in line with what everybody else is doing and saying? You know what I mean? Like that is kind of the truth of the message is like, if we could just learn to be taught to think for ourselves and to think for others instead of being so ingrained to be selfish individuals, which we already are naturally. You know what I mean? Society only just amplifies that when they tell you to go vote for your best interest. You know what I mean? But then at the same time, people will scream and shout about religion and how use religion as a organism to push the idea of politics in a different direction than what you're even saying. You know what I mean? Like I've heard so many people talk about, especially growing up in a Christian environment, where people use the idea of God and Jesus as of why they vote the way that they do. And I'm like, do you think that God and Jesus would really tell you to vote for your best interest? Wouldn't Jesus tell you to vote for the best interest of everybody and your neighbor? You know what I mean? Like right there, you're not even matching the ideas with what you just told me. You know what I mean? So I feel like we are taught to be selfish individuals when we are already naturally selfish, and we are taught to care about specific people that are like us, or people that believe the things that we believe, that fuck everybody else. Like as long as they believe what you believe, then you should care about those people or only care about your family. You know what I mean? And I don't buy into that. And I don't feel like Ren represents that either. I feel like Ren is supposed to be the representation of you have to think bigger and better, and you have to be more of an individual with your own thought than just to believe and just trail along with everybody else on the line. You know what I mean? We have to try to practice what we preach. We talk all day along about how people like Ren inspire us, but we don't try to actually put any of those actions into words. You know what I mean? That was kind of a lot of my problems of when I was growing up and around religious communities was I heard a lot of people tell me that I was far from God, but I watched them act completely opposite of that. You know what I mean? They told me I was the sinner, but yet yeah, they were the ones who were judgmental and hurting people within the community. You know what I mean? Causing schisms and turning people against each other in the name of your religion. You know what I mean? And it's nothing again, guys, nothing against religion. If you have your faith, I respect that, and I respect that it's an important thing to you. And I'm not here to try to like dog on that. It's a little bit just kind of trying to point out a little bit of some of the hypocrisy that I have seen and faced in my personal life. And I feel like that's what Ren always gets me thinking of is the hypocrisies of the world, no matter really what they are. And I feel like that he pushes that narrative and those agendas really through all the subject matters that he talks about. So again, you never know where a live stream reaction is going to go. And Johnny went a little all over the place today. I might have lost some people on the 6 different rants that I probably had in this video. But Ren does it to me each and every time, man. Each and every time. I don't know what it was about this money game part 3 that I wanted to check out today, but I'm glad that I did. Yeah, and him ending that video the way that he did, fire. You know what I mean? As a suicide kid myself, I love good representation. That idea, and I know that's not fun, and that's not. I'm not laughing at that, so don't kill me. If you made it to this point in the video, you probably understand me enough to know why I'm laughing. So, um, and you probably wouldn't kill me for chuckling in the moment. But if you made it to this point in the video, do me a favor, yo. Do me a favor. I'm gonna ask you a solid. Please follow me on Instagram. It would mean a lot. Join the Discord if you're into that kind of thing. We always need more people in the community. And if you'd like to help in a monetary way and help support the channel, the Patreon is a great place for you to do that as well. So I really appreciate all my patrons, all my moderators, and just everybody in the Foxtrot family. And if you haven't joined yet, there's always room for you.